Three very true scary neighborhood horror stories by Mr. Nightmare. Is ready?
My name is Mike, and this happened last year when my fiance and I bought our first starter home together. We're an Asian couple, which is relevant to the story. It was a small 2-story house in a basic suburban town in Georgia. There was nothing special about it,
My
but
neighbor
to
was
us,
arrested.
it was supposed
Oh
to
my
be
gosh.
special. It was a typical quiet street, decent backyard,
What do you
cheap
do?
fence, and regular-looking houses lined up next to each other. We felt lucky to even buy a house at our age, so it was a very exciting point in our lives that was quite literally robbed from us, which you'll...
You know what? How to fix America's housing problem or everywhere else's housing problem? If they do a Minecraft update, right? And everyone can just like build their own houses by like mining trees and stuff. Dude, that would be sick.
soon hear why. The first few days were normal. We unpacked, met a few neighbors, and tried to settle in. The neighbor on our right side was a friendly older couple. The neighbor across the street
That's your horror
waved
story.
and came across to say hi
Annoying
when he
neighbors.
saw us. But the house on our left side was different. We didn't see anyone come out of it for the first few days. The curtains were always shut. The house looked clean and normal, don't get me wrong, but it was always kind of dark inside, like no one...
There's a program in the US similar to that, isn't there? Habitat for Humanity or something like that. I don't know. All I know is we get all our lumber from Canada.
was home, even though there
What
was
is
a car in the
this?
driveway. The only time we noticed anything was when we saw someone standing inside their front window one afternoon. My fiancée and I were carrying groceries in from the car when she whispered something to me about it. I looked over and saw a man standing behind the curtain, only half visible, but totally watching us. He didn't wave. As soon as he saw
That is
us
creepy, bro. That is creepy, bro. Imagine looking at your neighbor's windows and then he's been staring at you the whole time, not saying anything. That is, oh my gosh.
away from the window. It was weird, but we didn't think too much about it.
Why
Some
would you not
people are
think too
just
much about
quiet or
that?
Awkward. Over the next week, we started
arrested for
noticing him
murder?
more often. Not outside, but inside his house. I would catch him standing in his living room window sometimes when I left for work. My fiancée told me she saw him in the upstairs window once when she was getting the mail.
Gambo, look.
Every time we noticed him, he seemed to be watching us, but never in a way where he stayed long. The second we looked back, he was gone. One night, something happened that made both of us uneasy in a way we couldn't ignore. Around midnight, I was getting ready for bed when I walked past our upstairs window. Our bedroom window faced directly toward his house.
Bro.
When I looked, out of habit, I saw him in his upstairs window. This time he wasn't halfway hidden or standing behind a curtain.
No.
He was fully visible. He stood straight up with his face turned toward our bedroom window. I froze
getting
for a second
goosebumps.
because I wasn't
Listen.
sure if I was actually seeing it right. But the second
Here's
he
the bad
realized I
news,
saw
you're right.
him, he stepped back away from the window. I remember saying to my fiancée with a laugh, "Oh great, our neighbor's a creep." The next morning, the man
Big
came to our
gossipers, they
door.
won't mind their own business.
It was the first
That
time
is
we saw
annoying.
him outside. He knocked politely and introduced himself as Gordon. He apologized for looking like he was spying
It's Gordon Ramsay! Dude, he's gonna go inside their kitchen and be like, Ace
the
roll!
night before. He told me he had been putting something on his window ledge
something like
and
that.
didn't mean to
I don't know
look
what
into
else
our
he says.
room. He smiled the whole time, and it was a welcoming enough smile to give me a bit of relief. I'm not saying I loved the guy instantly. There was definitely something
He loves the
slightly
guy.
off about him, but the apology was
Yay.
appreciated. I didn't want to be rude, so I told him it was
That's
fine.
progressivism. I like
When I
that.
went back inside, I told my fiancée he seemed somewhat nice, but a little weird. We decided to forget about it.
Girlin.
A week later, something else happened that we couldn't ignore. In the middle of the night, my fiancée shook me awake, telling me she heard someone in the yard. I was half asleep, but I got up to check the window. Gotta do what you gotta do as the man of the house. When I looked outside, I saw someone walking in our yard.
No.
Unless it was fucking Bigfoot, it was definitely a person. A
No.
full-grown man walking around like he was looking for something.
That is crazy.
My first reaction was to shout out, "Hey," even though I knew that wasn't the smartest thing to do. As soon as I yelled, the person walked fast toward the gate and slammed it shut behind him. Since we didn't have anything in the backyard yet besides some gardening tools, I didn't think someone was trying to steal anything.
Rick,
I
thank you for
didn't
the
bother
follow.
to check the backyard. I did.
What's in the backyard? Maybe he was hiding something. A freaking body, bro. Imagine he hid a body there. Maybe he just wants to mow the lawn, yeah, in the middle of the night. Maybe he hid a body and then he didn't expect people to move in there. And now he's like checking on the body. Maybe like it grew or something. And then grew a little body tree. Grew
Checked the
dead
front
bodies.
windows though, and didn't see anyone. I didn't go outside because I didn't feel safe, and eventually my fiance
Call the
and I
cops,
went back
man.
to sleep, even though we felt uneasy.
That would be enough to call the
Few
cops. You pay your taxes. If you're paying your taxes, call the cops, man.
After that,
Come on.
the same thing happened again. My fiance woke me up, telling me she heard rustling outside. This time we both heard it clearly.
I think your
It
fiance
sounded
needs to
like
be a
someone
heavier
was
sleeper.
shimmying something. I can't say what, but best description I could give was some kind of lock. I went to the window again.
Time to find another
Sure
house.
enough, I saw someone in the backyard. I felt my whole body tense up this time. I yelled that I was calling the cops. The person walked out of the yard and again slammed the gate the same way, but this time I saw enough of the man's face and posture to know it looked exactly like Gordon. I yelled Gordon, but he didn't respond. He just walked away like nothing happened.
Nah.
This time I went outside.
Nah,
I checked
bro.
the yard, then the sides of the house. I took a deep breath and told myself I have to confront this now. I walked over to Gordon's house and knocked. He answered within seconds, which told me he was awake the whole time. He smiled like he always did and started laughing while telling me that it was him in the yard. He said he was chasing away kids who always jumped the fences in the neighborhood, and he caught them jumping from his backyard into our backyard.
Nah, wait, really? What if it's real?
He said it happens all the time and told me I'd get used to it. He kept smiling the whole time, but something about the smile didn't feel normal. It felt like something was behind it. I saw a hate in
Dude,
his
Gordon was
eyes,
just being
I
a good
swear.
neighbor.
I didn't argue with him. I just told him I understood and went back home. But deep down, I didn't believe a word he said. The next day, he
Would you
came
guys
over
trust
again
Gordon?
and invited us
This
to
would be
come to his
crazy.
house for Chinese food the next night, which would be a Friday. We felt like saying yes would at least clear the awkwardness between.
I would not say yes, because if you invite him, right, then he's hosting, and then he roofies you. Dude, you're done for. You and your wife? No more.
Us, and we could just be cordial neighbors. We went to his house around 7 p.m. that Friday.
No, this is
The second
stupid.
we walked in, the atmosphere felt uncomfortable.
This is stupid. This is how you die. This is how you die, bro.
Gordon seemed relatively intoxicated.
Yep,
Got only more
leave.
drunk as he kept sipping more wine. He said he ordered a bunch of Chinese food and made a little weird comment like, "I know you guys love Chinese food," then laughed. He made little passive-aggressive comments here and there. Eventually the food arrived and he paid, and we offered to help him set up the table, but he almost yelled when he said no. The whole dinner felt tense. Then, as he finished more and more wine, he started acting more differently.
This guy's a
He started
lightweight.
making rude comments that were less passive and more direct. He said things that made it pretty clear he didn't like that an Asian couple moved into the neighborhood.
Oh, he's just a racist.
At first, we tried ignoring it, hoping
Harmless.
it would stop. But then he got louder and more angry.
Are you kidding
I
me?
mean it. He actually started getting himself angry as he talked about how this town had a history of being white. He started saying things that made both of us feel unsafe, honestly. Then he told us that it was in fact him going into our backyard those nights. He didn't deny it or try to hide
Why would
it.
you not record this?
The climax of the night was when he yelled at us that we were not welcome there and that the neighborhood wasn't for people like us. At that point, we didn't say anything. We just stood up and left. We walked back to our house as fast as we could. We didn't even talk about it until we were inside with the doors locked. We didn't know what to do except go to the other neighbors. So we walked door to door.
This would be such an easy fix, right? Everything has cameras now. If you see this guy trespassing in your property, call the cops immediately. Show them, hey, look at our Ring cameras. This guy is a freaking weirdo just staring at us the whole time, going into our backyards and stuff. And then he's arrested.
Asking them about Gordon.
I'm sorry,
Some of them
Gordon.
were shocked when we told them what happened. Others weren't
Then
surprised
he goes
at
to
all.
the
A few people
precinct
told us
and he'd be
Gordon
like,
was a
"Yo,
drunk whose wife left
I'm a
him
chef."
years ago. It didn't make us feel any better because we were living next to him now. We tried to avoid him after that. We didn't look at his house, we didn't go outside unless we had to. But how long could you avoid your next door neighbor? Every night felt tense, like he could be watching us or trespassing again. Then, one night, a brick was
We
thrown
don't
through our
have that.
downstairs window.
A brick, bro, dude. Come on. We don't have that much cameras here, to be honest. Get one. They're very cheap.
It shattered glass all
They're
over the living room.
worth every penny.
We both jumped out of
Because
bed
as soon
when we
as
heard it.
something happens,
When I ran downstairs, the
Pays
brick
for
was lying
itself.
on the floor. No note attached or anything. Just a brick.
and just
We
like
knew
the
it was
safety of knowing that you have a camera there is so good. I like knowing the fact that there's cameras recording everything. So if anything happens, we have proof. Like that peace of mind is worth every penny.
There was no one else it could have been, but we had no proof. We filed a police
See?
report.
They have no proof. You know why? No cameras.
The police came to talk to him, but he denied everything. He acted confused and told them he had nothing to do with it. The police couldn't do anything except document the incident. We talked about putting up cameras and staying to fight it out, but honestly, we were too scared, and this was mentally exhausting already. We both felt like something worse would happen if we stayed. Not even 2 months after moving in, we started packing again. We couldn't live next to someone who hated us and had already gone into our yard at night and then thrown a brick at our house. Before we left, we filed another report explaining everything. The police said they would keep an eye on the situation, but we didn't feel protected. We moved out of that house and out of that neighborhood as fast as we could. We left behind the home we thought would be our first chapter in life together. I still think if we stayed there, you'd have eventually heard of my fiancé and I on the news having been murdered by this man. I wish it wasn't illegal to dox people. Boy, would I love to drop his address in this story.
Well, on Twitch it isn't. Dude, you just gotta stream on Twitch and dox him, bro. What's Twitch gonna do? Ban him for 1 day? Dude, Twitch isn't gonna do shh. Dude, you can dox people on Twitch every time. Worst that can happen, you get a 1 day ban, bro.
Now is move on and upward from here.
Dude, just dox him on Twitch. Twitch doesn't care if you do anything illegal on stream. They do not care.
This story happened a couple of years ago, around
you
late
for that, thank you,
2021. My name is Noah, and me and my fiancé
Why
Gabby,
doxing though?
who's
So
now my
to
wife,
let people
have
know
moved
that
into
this
a new
guy's
house in a
dangerous.
quiet suburban neighborhood. It was a nice two-story
It's kind of like when you're a sexual offender and then you have a red dot.
Seemed friendly and welcoming as
People
well.
will know you're a sex
Most
offender.
notably, the
on
neighbors
the
that lived
list.
to the right of us seemed the friendliest.
You have to
It was a
introduce
couple in their
yourself
late
whenever you're moving to
30s, but
somewhere
I wasn't really
that
sure.
you're a sex offender.
The husband's name
That's
was Daniel,
crazy,
and
bro.
his wife was
Life-ruining
named
stuff.
Veronica. They were very friendly and seemed like sweet people. They even baked us a red velvet cake as a little welcoming gift. The cake was really good, and we couldn't thank them enough for it. The first couple of weeks were good in the new neighborhood. It was quiet and peaceful, until we started noticing strange things with our neighbors, Daniel and Veronica. One night, around 11 p.m., I heard shouting coming from outside. I looked out my bedroom window and realized it was coming from their house, like they were arguing. I couldn't see them because the angle of the houses blocked my view.
This is from Gordon's perspective. Imagine. The second story is just Gordon submitting his own story.
Looked out my bedroom window and realized it was coming from their house, like they were arguing. I couldn't see them because the angle of the houses blocked my view. Eventually,
So I just stared
saw Veronica
menacingly.
storm out to her car and leave. After that, it was quiet again. I told Gabby about it, and we just chalked it up to
Abandoned
them
thing
getting
to
into
fall.
an argument and Veronica leaving to cool off. I was kind of
Give me a
concerned
little trouble
because they
reading
seemed
your
like
name
such
there.
sweet people,
It's
not
written
the
on
type to
late.
have heated arguments. But every couple has disagreements. We didn't think too much of it. Later on that same week, Gabby and I were coming back home. When we got out of the car, we heard yelling coming from inside their house again. They had their main door open, but the storm door was closed, so we could hear them arguing clearly. Again, it wasn't our business, so we ignored it. Then one day, I noticed Veronica's car wasn't there for a few days, but I assumed maybe she was
Veronica.
on vacation. Daniel was still there
Bubbly
because
is
his
a good
car
fella.
stayed parked, and I would see him go out once in a while. But then it became a week, then 2 weeks, and Veronica's car was still gone. My wife noticed too and thought maybe they got divorced or something, which would make sense due to their constant arguing.
What do you think happened? Do you think he killed his wife? What would you assume? Would you like go over there like, yo, we haven't seen your wife in a while. Are you guys good? Would you do that? I'd be like, none of my business, bro. In a couple of weeks, there's gonna be like 5 cop cars going around arresting this guy. Ah, man.
But the way she left was so sudden. One day her car was there, the next it was gone. And Daniel was acting weird.
I passed out.
Every time we saw him, he would try to avoid us. He wouldn't wave like neighbors usually do.
I don't. What the frig? I try to avoid my neighbors. What the I try to go out exactly when they're not there. Dude, that's like the introverted life. Am I crazy? Am I the only one that does that? Dude, I try to time it. I'm like, okay, they just left.
And the rare times I talked to him, he would talk
I would rather not
fast
talk
and
to you
try to
guys.
end the conversation as soon as possible, like he was nervous. Something was definitely up with him. After
I
3
never wave
weeks
at
of
my neighbors.
Veronica
I avoid
being
them a
gone,
lot.
I
Same.
decided to go over and ask
Dude.
Daniel how things were. My fiance
We're all
argued
the same,
against
man.
it, saying it wasn't our
Introverts.
business and to leave it alone. But
That's why
curiosity
when
got
I
the
get a
best of me.
house, if I get a house, dude, that's never gonna happen. I would like to buy land instead of a house, no neighbors. Like maybe like a couple acres, 1 or 2 acres, and then I'd have no neighbors. I wouldn't have to wave at them. Am I crazy? And then I just build like a little tent. I just put up a tent.
And
I just
knew
buy the
she was
land,
curious
no
too,
house.
so I rang his doorbell. I knew he was home because his car was there. It took him almost 3 minutes to answer, and when he did, he looked off. He was sweating like he just ran a marathon, and he had this weird forced smile like he was hiding something. I asked him about Veronica. And why I
Stop.
haven't
Oh my gosh, bro, that's scaring me.
seen
Dude, the
her
beginning of the stream, and then you did the knocking thing, whoever that is, that actually so
or her
scared me
car
so
in a
much.
while. He hesitated and
I'm
said,
like, how do they know?
"Oh, she just went to go stay with her mom for a while out of state because she's very sick and she's looking after her." I felt like that was a lie, but I didn't question it. I might have believed him if he wasn't acting so strange. I then asked why he was sweating so much, and he said he was doing workouts upstairs. He was speaking really fast, like he was rushed or nervous, but then something happened that made my heart drop. I heard a voice scream from somewhere inside the house. I wasn't exactly sure where, but I was almost positive it was a woman's voice yelling for help. I asked what that was, and Daniel quickly said, "Oh, I'm playing a movie upstairs and forgot."
Oh man. Oh man. Okay. What would I do in this situation? You went over to your neighbor. While you were talking to him, you hear a woman's voice yell help. Then he says it's just a movie. Call my dad. And then your dad calls the cops. Oh man. Okay. I'll leave. I wouldn't confront him. I'm thinking about whether I would call the cops on this. You should probably, if it's suspicious enough.
to pause it. That made no sense since he had just said he was working out upstairs. I just said okay and told
I'm
him
an
I would
adult
catch
who
him
needs
later.
another adult.
I went back home and told Gabby everything. She was just as concerned as me and told me to call the cops. I did, and I requested to stay anonymous, even though Daniel would probably know it was me.
Yeah, he would know
I told the
immediately, bro.
dispatcher that I heard something.
That's why I'm thinking about it, because this guy would know it was me, because I was the only one that knocked. And is that willing to risk? Because I could be wrong. There's a 20% chance that I'm wrong. I'm almost positive right that this guy's doing something suspicious. Right, Faya? See, Faya knows.
My neighbor's house and wanted them to do a welfare check. Eventually, an officer pulled up. About 10 minutes later, I heard sirens and saw 5 police cars and an ambulance.
No.
Me and Gabby rushed outside. Officers were everywhere. Daniel was being taken away in handcuffs while Veronica was being rushed to the ambulance on a stretcher. We later found out Daniel and Veronica had been in an abusive relationship and things had escalated badly.
But where's
Daniel
their
kept her
car?
locked in the basement for weeks. I didn't even know they had a basement. Down there, he would assault her, rape her, abuse her, and do horrible things. He even sold her car to make it look like she wasn't home.
That is nuts, bro.
When I heard that scream while talking to him, it turned out he stabbed her 5 times because she had made noise when he told her to be quiet while he answered the door. That explained why he was acting so strange. Unfortunately, Veronica didn't survive and passed a couple hours later. As Daniel was being escorted into a police car, he said, "I know it was you who snitched on me, and you'll regret this." I wanted to laugh it off if the situation wasn't so messed up, knowing he would be behind bars for a long time. It's
Then he gets like 5 years. Imagine he's only there for 5 years, bro. There's no way for
crazy how you never know who people truly are behind closed doors.
No, not 5 years.
Daniel
Probably
seemed
not.
like a friendly,
6
normal
years.
guy, and so did Veronica. They seemed like a great couple, but
What did I
obviously
say?
they had serious issues hidden underneath. Fast forward a couple nights after the incident,
Hi,
I woke
Wolfie.
up in the middle of the night. It was dark, and I saw the silhouette of a person. As my eyes adjusted,
Oh, dude, this guy would have like these panic attacks every now and then, thinking this guy's coming for him.
I saw that it was Daniel. My heart dropped. He said, "I told you you would regret this."
What?
He was holding a knife. I tried talking him down.
This is
telling him
real?
to calm down and just
Is he
talk.
having a nightmare?
But he didn't respond. I pressed myself against the headboard. Then, out of nowhere, he lunged at me. I screamed. And then, I woke up for real. I was breathing heavily, and Gabby was beside me. She asked what was wrong, and I said it was just a bad dream. She went back to sleep, but I couldn't. The fact that I dreamed about my neighbor who murdered his wife breaking into my house to kill me chills me to this day.
Move.
Most dreams fade, but this one stayed vivid, and the words he said in the dream were the exact same ones he said while being taken away in cuffs. I never told my wife about this dream. I don't know why. I guess because she might think I'm crazy or it would just stress her out. Eventually, after
Green.
we got married, we moved to another part of town. It's a nice, quiet neighborhood and a great
Hi,
house,
Kyla.
but the whole event traumatized us. Knowing we lived next to a murderer still haunts us.
Well, he wasn't a murderer until you did what you did. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. My bad. I'm sorry.
My name is Devin, and this happened 2 years ago when I was 24 and living in a duplex in Queens, New York. It was a small
New York.
old house that looked divided
But it's Queens.
right down
It's
the
better than New
middle.
York, New York.
I rented the left side, and some man rented the right side.
Why am I getting bunked?
I never met him.
Stop.
I never even saw him. The landlord said he kept to himself and worked nights, so it didn't concern me. My bedroom was on the second floor, and the wall of my bedroom was the same wall as the neighbor's bedroom. If I pressed my ear up to the wall, I could hear faint movements on the other side sometimes, but that's to be expected in New York City.
Give me
The
that
first
back,
week
Kyla.
that I lived there, nothing strange happened. I worked long hours, came home tired, ate something simple, and went straight to bed.
Dude, this building looks like Hogwarts. Look at him. It's like that one building that looks like a castle out of everything. That's crazy.
I was just happy to have my own
Oh,
place.
it's a church, I think.
And then one night, things
My
began.
bad.
I was lying in bed scrolling on my phone when I heard what sounded like a man talking, but it didn't sound like a normal man's voice. It was
It's
high-pitched,
Batman.
like someone
Never
trying
mind.
to talk in a fake voice. It was faint, and it was being spoken from the other room, but the wall was so thin that it felt like the person was standing right next to me. I couldn't understand what he was saying. It was just this weird high voice mumbling. I tried to ignore it. Maybe he was on the phone, or maybe he was watching something on TV. Eventually, the mumbling stopped and I fell asleep. A few nights later, though,
Like
the
these
mumbling
these kind of stories are like so vivid that I feel like it's happening to me. As he's reading these stories, as he's telling these stories, I feel like it's happening to me and I'm going to remember it like it happened to me.
came back. But this time it was louder, and this time it was definitely a man talking. I pressed my ear lightly to the wall and
Maybe it's just like
listened.
my imagination.
It
I have
didn't
just
sound
really
like he
great
was on the
imagination.
phone. It sounded like he was talking to himself. I didn't know whether to laugh or be slightly creeped out. To block the noise out, I put the blanket over my head. I had work early the
Like,
next
really,
morning
really
and I
vivid.
needed sleep.
We're the same past though.
I think that was the first night I realized I did not like living there
First
alone.
Hi, you
2 weeks after that, the knocks
Welcome.
started. I was lying in bed again, half asleep, when I heard 2 taps on the wall right next to my head. It was so close that I flinched like someone was touching me. I sat up and waited a few moments
I
in
hope you won't get
silence.
nightmares from it. I
And
won't.
then there were
I
2
can take
more
care of myself.
identical taps on the wall from the other
I'll take
side.
care of you, chat. Don't worry.
I knew for sure that it
I'll
was not a
protect you.
house settling noise that could just easily be
I'm a
explained
mainly
away.
main.
I rolled away
I
from
can
the
attack
wall
anyone. I'm
and
like
sat
Levi
there
Ackerman.
shaking. I kept waiting to hear something else, but it went quiet. I wanted to knock back, but I realized that acknowledging it would likely make it worse. The next
ignore
morning,
it.
I told myself it was not a big deal and that I was overreacting.
Yuki, why am I getting bunked?
Over the
Stop.
next week, the knocks continued. Sometimes soft, sometimes harder, always at night, and always when I was trying to sleep. One night it went on for so long that I put in headphones
It's
and
right
turned
on
on
the
a
hour.
loud fan.
Right on
I
time.
remember lying awake thinking about how thin the wall was, how close his room was, how close he was. He could literally be lying just 2 feet away from me. It scared me more every night. But still, the knocks could have just been him sitting against the wall and accidentally banging or tapping the wall with something. But then came the night that everything changed. I'll never forget it. I was lying in bed on my side, facing the wall. My eyes were closed, but I
Kitsuna, one
was
gifted
not asleep
to
yet.
Yuria,
The
W.
room was dark, except for my street lamp shining through the blinds. I heard the knocks again. 3 slow ones.
Whoa.
I kept my eyes closed and tried not to react. Then I heard that same high-pitched man's voice come through the wall. It was muffled, but not that muffled. I could hear each word clear enough. He said, "What are you doing in there?" My lungs locked up. I sat straight up in bed, shaking so hard I felt my teeth chattering.
I would pretend
This
to be
was
sleeping.
no longer just
Like this.
potential accidental taps on the wall.
Oh my gosh, Kitsuna. Gifting spree. Again. They've given 69 gift subs in the channel. Okay, Kitsuna. 69 gifts.
He was now acknowledging me directly. He said it straight through the wall. I could just tell he said it like he knew I was right next to him. I grabbed my phone and called my boyfriend. Scared out of my mind, and told him exactly what happened. He told me he was coming over right away and he would stay the night with me. I stayed sitting up with the lights on until he arrived. The rest of the night, nothing happened. It was almost worse that way. It made me feel crazy, like the neighbor knew my boyfriend was there. For a few days, things were quiet. I started thinking maybe it was just some weird coincidence that the neighbor was doing something and I misheard. But then a few nights later, something happened that made me leave the house running. I still have bad.
Why would you leave the house? Is it safer outside? Imagine if that's the boyfriend, that would be crazy. Some scream level stuff right there. So you're in a duplex, right? And you're sharing a wall with your neighbor. Would you run outside to get away from him? What are these videos? I submitted my story to this guy and he's reading them. And this is me. This is my story.
Dreams about it. I was asleep this time, fully asleep. I don't know what time it was when I woke up, but I woke up fast. Something snapped me awake. I sat up slightly, and then it started. The knocks on the wall, like someone drumming their fingers right beside my head. I screamed back without thinking. I shouted for whoever it was to leave me alone. I was shaking and breathing hard. I think mustering up the courage to finally yell back spiked my adrenaline. I don't know exactly what I expected next, but I will tell you
He used
what did
the boy
happen
immediately
next.
to get
I
to
never
me.
expected in a million
Just
years.
flying around.
There was a voice. It came from inside my room.
Inside the room? How the f-
Voice in the dark said, "Go to sleep." It was not the voice from the wall. It was deeper and closer, right there in my room. I launched off my bed screaming. For some reason, the brief moments of my running through the hallway and down the stairs was a blur, because I really just remember getting outside and running into the street screaming for help over and over. I must have looked insane. I ran barefoot onto the sidewalk. I kept looking behind me, expecting someone to be chasing me. I didn't stop screaming until a man 2 houses down came outside and stared at me like he didn't know what to do. I begged him to let me use his phone to call my boyfriend, but he said by the sound of it I needed to call the police, so I called the police instead. I waited by that man's sidewalk.
No, I think she's having a schizo. How is this guy inside? She must be having a schizo attack. She was having paranoia. Yeah, call the police if you think someone's in there. But how the fudge would this guy get in here? This would be crazy. That guy's just inside your house? Could be sleep paralysis. You wouldn't be able to move.
Shaking and crying until the police arrived. When they showed up, I told them everything that happened. They asked me if I was sure that someone was in the house, and I said yes. 100% yes.
No, you wouldn't say 100%. That's crazy. You're gonna look so crazy if there's no one there, because he would just leave. Yes, officer, I locked the door while heading out. He's stuck in there. I locked him up.
They drove me back to my duplex, and 2 officers went inside. My front door was still wide open like I left it. They said there were no signs of forced entry. They asked me if I remembered unlocking the door as I ran out. I had no memory of touching the lock. I told them I didn't think I unlocked it, but I was so panicked that maybe I did. I couldn't be sure. They checked every room, every closet, under the bed, everywhere. No one was in the house.
Why would he stay there?
They knocked on the neighbor's door too, but he wouldn't open up. It looked like he wasn't home at all. Eventually, my boyfriend showed up and took me back to his place. I was still
Muzan, thank you for the
shaking hours
follow.
later. I don't remember sleeping again the rest of the night.
Kagura.
In the morning, I called my
Dead.
landlord and told him everything. I told him I needed to know who the neighbor was and if he had any history of problems or strange behavior. I also told him I wanted to break the lease immediately.
There, I think it was the ball.
At first, he pushed back. He said he needed notice and paperwork. I told him I would not step foot in that duplex alone again, and he needed to help me. It took a whole day of phone calls before he said he would let me break the lease. My boyfriend came with me every single time I went back to the duplex to move my stuff. I refused to go alone. During those days, we tried knocking on the neighbor's door multiple times, but he never answered. It was like no one lived there. But there were signs that someone did, like packages at the door and a car in the driveway, but no human response. I ended up moving back in with my parents for a while until I found a new place. I still don't know if that neighbor was actually in my room that night, or if someone got in without the police noticing, or if it was just all in my head from the stress.
I think she was having a massive schizo attack. There is no way this guy actually got in there. That would be crazy. Is this guy an actual ghost? Man was like freaking Danny Phantom.
But that one's the least likely explanation because it's pretty clear what's real and what's in your head.
Some duplexes like that have basement doors that connect. You wouldn't know though.
Moved out too without saying a word. I don't know what really happened in that duplex.
It's just Coraline. It's just under. It's behind the thing. It's behind the bookshelf. That's what's great. Oh, hopefully you guys get nightmares. I mean, hopefully you guys don't get nightmares.